A hero to some, a monster to others. This is the story of how a 22-year-old medical student became one of the most recognizable faces in the world. In 1950, Ernesto Guevara de la Sena, a 22-year-old medical student, sets out from Buenos Aires on a solo trip on a bicycle mounted with a single engine. The journey would see him cover over 4,500 kilometers in the rural provinces of northern and central Argentina. In Cordoba, he meets up with his friend Alberto Granado, with whom he would later embark on another journey.
Welcome, Ernesto.
Hello, Alberto. It is time for a new journey, my friend.
We will need to take a break from studies. It's time we saw a country that we have only seen in books.
He covers 8,000 kilometers in the second journey. He keeps a diary as he travels, which is later published as travel notes and made into a movie called The Motorcycle Diaries. Guevara and Alberto ride through the Argentine countryside. They see a homeless couple in the Atacama desert and camp with them.
The police chased us out of our lands because we are communists.
They are shivering flesh and blood victims of capitalist exploitation. Their faces were tragic and haunted. They told us of comrades who mysteriously disappeared and were said to be at the bottom of the sea. It was one of the coldest nights of my life, but also one which made me feel closer to this strange human race.
They reached the Chuquicamata copper mine, the primary source of Chile's wealth.
How many men must have died serving this imperialist cause? You there, give these men some water.
I will, when I think they need it. They won't die right now.
In 1952 at Machu Picchu in the high Andes, Guevara witnesses rampant poverty.
We should start an indigenous party to carry on the revolution of Tupac Amaru.
A revolution without guns? It would never work.
They trundle on, halting in Peru after their bike breaks down. They set off in a truck with Indians and animals, getting close to the indigenous peasants.
I want to link my destiny to the poor of this world.
Guevara and Alberto work in Peru with leprosy patients.
I don't want to leave.
You have to fight for every breath and tell death to go to hell.
Months later, they leave for Colombia via the Amazon aboard a wooden raft Mambo Tango, which is gifted by the patients. On July 26, 1952, the duo reach Venezuela, where Alberto decides to stay to work in a leprosarium. Guevara, meanwhile, heads to Miami.
There is more room for kindness here. I shall stay.
How long this present order, based on the absurd idea of caste, will last is beyond my means to answer. But it is time the government spend more money on funding socially useful works.
Dear Mother, there is more repression of individual freedom here than anywhere else. The police patrol the streets carrying rifles and demand your papers every few minutes. The atmosphere is tense. A revolution may be brewing.
Guevara returns to Buenos Aires from Miami to complete his studies. He receives his medical degree in June 1953. A complex man with an unwavering goal, he set out on a third journey on July 7, 1953. He traverses the dominion of the United Fruit Company, an American corporation trading in tropical fruit in Guatemala. He's appalled at how badly the company treats its workers and how it interferes in the affairs of the state. Guatemalan President Jacobo Arbenz Guzman has been trying to abolish large farms and estates in the country.
The land belongs to the people.
In Guatemala, he romances Hilda Gadea Acosta, a Peruvian economist. They marry after she gets pregnant, but he soon flees to Mexico. In 1955, Guevara meets Fidel and Raul Castro, who are living in exile in Mexico City.
Come, join us, comrade. The revolution is a dictatorship of the exploited against the exploiters.
They plan to overthrow Cuban dictator Fulgencio Batista. Guevara trains in guerrilla warfare with the members of the movement. determined to overthrow the US puppet Batista. The Cubans call him Che because he frequently uses the expression to call attention during conversations, an Argentine habit. After intensive training, Che and Fidel set out for Cuba aboard the yacht Granma. After an initial setback, which saw only Che, the Castro brothers, and a few others surviving, the revolutionaries hit back.
Our every action is a battle cry against imperialism and a battle hymn for the people's unity against the great enemy of mankind. Hasta la victoria siempre.
In December 1958, Che wrests the city of Santa Clara in central Cuba. Batista flees the country. The revolutionary government takes over on January 1, 1959. Fidel grants Cuban citizenship to Che and appoints him Minister of Industry and head of the National Bank. Following the Bay of Pigs invasion in 1962, Che sends a thank you note to US President John F. Kennedy.
Thanks for the Bay of Pigs. Before the invasion, the revolution was shaky. Now, it's stronger than ever.
In 1965, he takes part in an unsuccessful revolution in the Congo. He returns to Cuba in 1966 and leaves for Bolivia in October to start an armed revolution. On October 8, 1967, Bolivian soldiers trained by the US Green Berets take Che prisoner after a day-long battle in El Churro ravine. He is held in a school in La Higuera village. The Bolivian government orders his execution. Sergeant Mario Terran volunteers to be the executioner and enters Che's classroom.
Are you thinking about your own immortality?
Shoot, you coward! You're only going to kill a man!
And Terran opens fire. It's past 1 p.m. on October 9, 1967. Che's body is taken to the Senor de Malta hospital in Valle Grande. His hands are amputated for proof of identification. His death is shrouded in mystery and his body buried in an unmarked grave.
Wherever death may surprise us, let it be welcome, provided that this battle cry may have reached some receptive ears and another hand may be extended to wield our weapons.
But the man they hoped people would forget became a legend.